We have come to the courts today because a substantive case between Ohiniba and Kraba, one of the two Rastafarian boys rejected by the Achimota School over their hair, their locks. That case have been called today the substantive case. Remember, some weeks back, the families together with their lawyers, were seeking to get the court to allow the kids to go to school while the substantive case begins. But the court rejected that plea from the two kids. The case itself today started, but the court adjourned the case because of an issue. I spoke to the father of Ohiniba and Kraba to tell us exactly why the court adjourned the case and what the issue was.
Okay, what happened is that there's a postponement until next week, Friday. The reason why that is so is because of the fact that there needs to be a written submission in law from both sides, which wasn't here today, which needs to be presented.
So as a side, which is your side and which are the
and
side?
the school side, Achimota School and the GS. So a written submission has to be presented as regards to the law itself, right? So that's the reason why it has been postponed till next week, Friday.
So when you got in court, you started the case and the judge asked that submission is presented before he or she proceeds?
Yes. That was it.
Well, what are your expectations over this court?
Well, the first thing is that I can see clearly that the judge is really all about the case being expedited. She is very on top of that aspect of it, that it needs to be expedited to get it over with. I am expecting that the writing will be done. I think the case is very clear and simple, as regards to the law and the Constitution. And I'm expecting that we will preserve the integrity of the Constitution. That's what I'm looking forward to.
So let me speak to mother of Ohiniba in Kraba. What does she think about proceedings so far and expectations at the end of the day? Welcome to the Citi Newsroom.
Thank you.
Now, it's been a long journey, finally to the courts, and finally this case has taken off. You were in court this morning. What do you think so far about the process?
Oh, okay. So far, so good. It looks positive. From what the judge is trying to do, she wants to expedite it, as quickly as possible, looking at the fact that other children are in school and they should be in school too.
Whilst you're waiting for this case to come to a conclusion, hopefully Nkraba is admitted, what has he been up to?
Okay, all right. Emotionally, psychologically, mentally, it's been difficult for all of us, especially me as a mom. In fact, it's been so bad that I almost was getting into depression, that I have to even be on drugs. But we have put him on an online program for now. And so I'm a bit at ease for the fact that he's studying, so he's not sitting home doing anything. Okay. Even him, he haven't been okay. He's been in and out of moods. From the beginning, we had to take him to see a psychologist. So every now and then we have him, being talked to by friends and loved ones, including the doctor who he's been seeing. And equally, personally, I've been encouraging him. And so for the fact that he's doing the online school, no matter how long the case drag, since he is studying, I don't think he will lose so much.
So some people will say, why do you still want to admit him to Achimota School? Obviously, from what is happening, if he gets in, psychologically, it won't be healthy for him.
Yes, we have looked into it. But the point is, other schools that I have approached, which I wouldn't want to mention them, but I realize that they are equally reluctant. I don't know if it's because of the media hype or if it's because of the fact that GES gave the directive and the school didn't go by it, and we had a meeting and GES finally, relented on their words and backed Achimota School against us. I am thinking maybe the other schools are looking at that, not to accept him. So if not for that, we would probably have enrolled him somewhere.
But, you've had other schools as well approach you, apart from the ones that you have gone to. Any positive outcome from these schools?
I have to take this opportunity to clear this. It's a facade. It's not true. It was in the news by one of the media houses that the children had scholarships and the children had been approached by other schools, and it's not true. There's no school that have approached us except for some universities abroad that contacted us, but then it is for university, so anything.
Private schools, no private school, international schools, because we had 5 international private schools had gotten in touch with you guys and all that.
No, it was rather from abroad, and it's not like I'm saying, it's not for the secondary school, it's for the university. So the news going round about schools approached us and all of that is not true.
Now, this case in question has been brewing for weeks before it found its way here at the courts. Now, it started with the 2 boys getting to the Achimota School and being told by the school that they will not be admitted until they got rid of their locks. Now, all throughout those developments, my colleague Ni Ama was monitoring those events. He will bring us up to speed on how we got to this particular place, what transpired between the period for us to get to the courts or for the families to bring the case here at the courts. Niamama.
The story of these 2 Rastafarian students at the heart of the Achimota School dreadlock saga was bound to end up in court. The genesis, though, goes back to a little over a month ago, the 18th of March 2021, when the 2 boys, Tyrone Magai and Oheniba Nkwabia, were given an ultimatum to either cut their locks or forfeit their place at the Achimota School.
She told me she wants nothing to do with me because of my dreadlocks, so I should pack my stuffs and everything, sit away from her stuffs. That's all the items collected. I should keep away from that place. And then she also said with the dreadlocks, they will not accept anything. So it's either I'm getting it all at that very same place. It's either I'm getting it off and coming to Achimota, or that's it. But Achimota will no way accept it.
Prior to that reopening day, the boys and their fathers, Raswad Nkwabia and Terrio Magai, were strangers. But they are now bound by the same fate of what they consider discrimination and a violation of their son's human rights, for which reason they agreed to fight the school.
If these people think they can violate the Constitution, then of course the president has to answer to that. He has to tell us why there are institutions in the country that is violating the Constitution. So we want to take it to the GES and we want to take it to court. We want a class action, the lawsuit.
As expected, the decision did not go down well with the school. Despite a directive from the Ghana Education Service for the boys to be admitted, the school insisted otherwise. But they were not alone, as players in the educational sector, such as the president of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, Angel Kabunu, backed the school's decision.
I totally am surprised and very disappointed that the Ghana Education Service bent the rules for this Rastafarian. If he's a true Rastafarian, he should express it in his heart. So the Ghana Education Service begins to make these exemptions. They create chaotic situations in the school for we, the teachers, to manage. I think it is wrong on the part of the Ghana Education Service to allow this to go.
The attention the boys had on both social and traditional media seemed to have propelled them to stay resolute in their quest to end the supposed discrimination meted out against them. The support for them was massive as widespread condemnation came running down on the actions of the Achimota School. An NGO, Child Rights International, took keen interest in the matter and vowed to support the families get justice if the case went to court.
We want you to know that from today onwards, Child Rights will team up with the affected children and then clearly seek for some interpretation as to what we need to do in respect to this particular subject matter. And once there's a determination, it will settle all matters as to whether or not children can enjoy their fundamental freedoms in the school environment or the rules of regulations will do the magic.
Now with the battle lines drawn and sides taking, the Nkwabias and the Magais have filed separate suits at the Human Rights Division of the High Court. Their plea, among others, is to order the school to enroll the boys with their dreadlocks, force the school to desist from ever subjecting a student to such treatment over their religious values, and pay compensation for the harm done to their persons.
So let's speak with a lawyer for Ohiniba and Kraba to find out exactly what happened in case and the issues raised by the judge or other parties involved in this case. So welcome to the Citi Newsroom.
Thank you very much.
Fill us in on exactly what transpired in court today.
Thank you. Today we appeared to see the response from the respondents in the matter. That is Achimota School, the GES, Ministry of Education, and then Attorney General. Last night we were served with a response from the Attorney General that sought to reply on behalf of the GES and then the Attorney General. And in the response, we noticed that they are making up an assertion that they don't think the first respondent, which is the Achimota School, and then the third respondent, which is the ministry, they should be part of the suit. They indicate that they've wrongly been sued. But we have not responded to that. If we have to respond to that, we need to file supplementary affidavit to respond to that. But for us, and where we stand, the fact that the GES is in court is critical for our case. And so long as the GES has entered and has responded, we are good to go. And then the court indicated that we serve Achimota School once again to file their response to the substantive application. The substantive application is the Article 33 application on enforcement of fundamental human rights. That is the main matter before the court. Achimota School has not responded to that. So today's business, there's an order that they respond to that if they have any. Then the court also thought it wise that because there's a need to expedite action on this matter, why don't the parties file their written submissions? Because if we come for the next court date, there will be an order directing us to come with our written submission. So the court today gave all those orders together, that we file our written submissions alongside where we are now, so that by the 30th of this month, when we come, the written submissions have already been filed, the court would have looked at it, and then we can move the motion, and then the next court date will be determination of this matter.
Okay. Were you surprised with the party saying that you had wrongfully sued some of them?
Yes, that is in their response, the affidavit in opposition. And ordinarily, if we have to respond to that, we need to come by another supplementary affidavit responding to that. We are not much surprised, but for the Attorney General to say that the Minister of Education has wrongly been sued, we disagree, and we don't see why that assertion should be made, because the Ministry of Education is a sector ministry. We are talking about education here in this country. We are talking about education here. In this whole matter, we are talking about education. So if the sector ministry, that is the oversight ministry, the Minister of Education, when the matter broke, made a statement on it in Parliament and indicated that the directives given by the GS, that the Achimota School should go ahead and enroll the children if the evidence is clear that they are Rastafarian and they manifest their religion through their hair by letting the kids cover their hair. The GS gave that directive. The minister, when he reacted in Parliament, also echoed that that directive still stands. So if the Ministry of Education is not paramount in matters about education, why would he take it upon himself to respond? So if there's a legal matter in court about education and the ministry, the sector ministry has been sued, for the Attorney General to come and say that the Minister of Education has wrongly been sued are legal matters, and we will have to respond to that via supplementary affidavit. But where we are now, because of time and because of the need for these children to go to school, we don't want to get into those. And in fact, that is the main reason why in our first attempt we came with an ex parte injunction motion, because we knew definitely that the other side will get into these gimmicks, procedural gimmicks and all that would prolong the matter. So we are not ready to battle that aspect that we have wrongly sued at the Ministry of Education and even Achimota School. And it also came up in court. Attorney General indicated that all the secondary schools in Ghana, the GS represent them. So if there's to be any legal action, they are the ones you are supposed to sue. If it is true that the law is that you cannot sue a secondary school, you must sue the GS, they will be found wanting. Yeah. But now we have sued the GS, we have sued the ministry. So if even we do the research and the law is that you cannot sue a secondary school, and the courts will use the legal process. And my lady told the Attorney General that, Counsel, you cannot rise on your feet and just tell us that. You know what to do. If a party has wrongly been sued, we call that misnomer in law. If a party has wrongly been sued, you know the legal process. You file another process to come and get a person out of suit. It's joint in legal matter. We have joint actions and then joint of actions and joint of parties. So if I have wrongly joined you, you know the legal process. So if it is the position that Achimota School cannot be sued because it's a secondary school, and you cannot sue the minister, which we disagree, it still leaves us with the GS and the Attorney General on our court process. So we are intact.
So that's it for the Citi Newsroom here today at the court, where the two gentlemen today in question is one of them, Mr. Nkraba, trying to seek justice in the rejection by Achimota School to admit them over their hair, that's their Rasta hair. The case in question adjourned to the 30th of April, Friday, to proceed with the case proper. So on 30th of April, we'll bring you more on that.